The Kaaba. We have noted that the Kaaba was a pagan temple crowded with idols and that the Islamic lore about its foundation by Abraham is pure fiction. It should not therefore sound strange that Hindus present in Arabia took easily to worship in the Kaaba. The pagan psyche responds with reverence to all idols everywhere. The most popular Muslim historian, Farishta, writes, "Before the advent of Islam, the Brahmins of India were always going on pilgrimage to the Kaaba for the worship of the idols there." He cites earlier historians as his authorities on the subject. It is also significant that Muslims continued to believe for a long time that Lat and Manat, two prominent pre-Islamic Arab goddesses, had fled from Arabia when the Prophet tried to destroy them and taken refuge in the temple of Somnath. The repeated expeditions which Muslim invaders led in the direction of this temple were partly inspired by this legend which originated in Arabia. Why a legend about Somnath? Simply because its famous temple on the coast of Saurashtra was a place of pilgrimage for pagan Arabs, in the same way as the Kaaba was for the Hindus. This inference may not sound unwarranted when we view the fact that Prabhaspatan was one of the principal ports. Prabhaspatan, where is it? Was one of the principal ports for the Indian trade with Arabia, and had a strong Arab presence in pre-Islamic times. Arab presence in this port continued to be strong even in the post-Islamic period, down to the reign of the Vaghelas. Now the Hindu tradition. The Hindu tradition that the Kaaba was a Shiva temple was very much alive in the days of Guru Nanak, and is preserved in the Janam Sakhis, particularly the Makke Madina di Ghoshati. It has to be investigated how far back in time this tradition goes. It cannot be said that it was invented by Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak is reported to have said, "Mecca is an ancient place of pilgrimage and there is Linga of Mahadeva there. It was presided over by the Brahmanas. One of the Brahmanas, though born among them, became a Musalman. He subverted the Atharva Veda and renamed it as Furqan. His own name was Muhammad, which means the same as Mahadeva. He, however, vitiated all other names so that Hindu names stood cancelled and Muslim names came into vogue. All Brahmanas were forced to fall away from the proper path, though they continued raising cries to Allah. The Kalima says that God is one, but Muhammad got his own name mixed up with that of God. He sent out an order to the wide world that all should become Musalmans. Most of those who were men of substance did not obey that order, but those who were tormented by want rallied around him. He concocted some sort of a creed and taught it to them. They joined him for plundering the people. No one joined him with any other motive." Now the quote of Guru Nanak ends here. There is no evidence as yet that the pre-Islamic Arabs were Hindus or bore Hindu names or knew the Atharva Veda or were guided by Brahmanas. The Janam Sakhi seems to have preserved the Hindu refugee version of what happened in Arabia after the advent of Islam. It is on record in Muslim histories that Hindus resident in lands invaded by Islam had to run for their lives. The same thing that had happened in the Roman Empire after it was taken over by Christianity. The common people everywhere are prone to interpret events in the language of their own culture. It may be that by the time that the story reached Guru Nanak, or perhaps much earlier, the Kaaba had become a Shiva temple in the eyes of Hindus, and the principal idol there was a Shiva Linga. The pagan priests who presided in the Kaaba became Brahmanas, and the Quran a perversion of the Atharva Veda. What is quite obvious is that the Hindus resident or present in Arabia did not relish the revolution that had upturned Arabia's ancient religion and imposed a new belief system by means of brute force. The image of the Prophet and his followers formed by Hindus at that time was more than confirmed by their subsequent experience of Islam in their own homeland. They had no reason to revise the story, which has persisted till today, in spite of the Herculean efforts made by a whole establishment to proclaim the Prophet as quote-unquote a great religious teacher, and to whitewash Islam into quote-unquote a noble faith. In any case, the subject needs serious investigation by scholars in the field.